thank you so much for showing up. Chrissy Metz, this is Cecily from Refinery 29, and she's going to be my amazing moderator today. So who knows the questions that will be asked, but I will try to provide some answers. So thank you so much for showing up. And we're excited.
Yes, I'm so excited to be here. In addition to ChrissyMetzBook.com, which is where you can watch this live stream, we're also live at Refinery 29's entertainment Facebook page, The Mention, so you can check us out there as well. I'm so excited to be here with you, Chrissy.
Love you so much.
Love This Is Us. Everyone does. You've made me cry too many times.
It's the writer's fault. I'm like, I pin it on the writers. Like, I just read the words. But I know. It does. It touches people, and I'm very grateful for that.
Yes, it really does. And obviously, you're an amazing actress, but did you know that one day you were also going to be an author?
No. I mean, I wanted to write children's books because I taught preschool, and I was, like, really into just sort of engaging a young audience. But when it was brought up, I was like, write a book. Yeah. I know. What? I can barely string a sentence together, it feels like. And they're like, yeah, okay, no, give yourself more credit. And so it became this really cool evolution of people want to hear what you have to say and what you've gone through and your stories. And I thought, okay, I want to tell people, and I meet strangers all over that I love very much, and I end up crying in bathrooms and chip aisles with they wanted to know my story, and they wanted to know, like, what I'd been through and how I got here. And I didn't realize how many of my stories would help people, and of course other stories have helped me, and so I wanted to pay it forward through my journey. So yeah.
And you did. Her new book is This Is Me, Loving the Person You Are Today, and we're doing a virtual book signing. I'm so excited. We have fans from all over who have written questions that they want to ask you.
Oh dear.
And they're also going to get signed copies of the book. We're so excited. So you ready to jump into some questions?
Yes,
All
definitely.
right, great. So Jolanda from Davenport, Florida says it's actually her
Hey, Florida.
Hey. Hometown heroes.
Yes.
So it's Jolanda's 50th birthday today.
Happy birthday! Happy birthday to you.
Yay! So can't ask for a better birthday gift that I'm buying myself. My question is it hard to not take the emotional baggage of your role after the cameras stop rolling? Do you need some time to decompress from your character? Obviously, the character that Jolanda is talking about is Kate from the show This Is Us, which we all love and comes with a lot of baggage.
Yeah, she's going through it, as we all are. But, it's hard to be so deep into the scene or into that feeling in that moment, whether it's, her relationship with her father or her current relationship with her mother or her brothers. It's hard. It's really hard to kind of just separate and shut it off. It's not really just like a little faucet. You're like, nah, done. And I feel things very deeply. And so it takes me a minute to sort of decompress. I like to be alone, listen to music, maybe take a bath, just kind of, the finale episode was really hard for many reasons. And that, just different scenes bring up different emotions as a human being, and then of course bringing it to the screen. And so, it's hard. It's something I have to be really cognizant of, and like, I'm like, wait, why am I upset? Why am I angry? And I'm like, oh, you just spent all day crying. Yeah. And talking about your feelings.
Same.
Yeah. So yeah. It's a challenge.
I'm so obsessed with the show that I like to binge watch it, but then when I binge watch it, I'm kind of like a mess. It's not available for anything else because I'm just like, I need a moment.
Right, you need to it's a catharsis. You need to just get it out.
So Amanda from Little Elm, Texas wants to know if you actually have a favorite episode of This Is Us.
Oh my gosh, that's like asking what my favorite cheese is. I love cheese. I really loved the Super Bowl episode because we got some closure on Jack's death, and it was just so incredibly well done. And I loved the finale because we finally get to see, even it was Kate's dream, we got to see her interact with Jack, which was so special and wonderful for me because I hadn't obviously acted with Milo in the first 2 seasons. So I think those would be my favorite. Yeah. It's hard to choose, though. I don't know. Yeah. Hard to choose.
So before we get to the next question, let's actually sign the first book.
I was going to say.
Yeah, this is a book signing.
Should we do the first signing? Yeah.
So as I mentioned, at ChrissyMetzBook.com, you can catch this live feed. People who submitted their questions there are getting signed copies of the book from Chrissy. As you can see, she's signing the book right now. This is, what
it doesn't feel real. It doesn't feel real.
Yeah, I mean, like, look, you're signing your book.
I know.
And it's like your face is all over it.
And, cute story. Yeah. I think it's a cute story. And I rarely toot my own horn. But this is actually a selfie.
No, it's not.
True.
My selfies don't look like that.
I'm sure they do.
No.
I'm sure they do. Yeah, I was at a photo shoot, and Matoko, who typically does my makeup in LA, she was like in the process of doing makeup, and of course I had to go to the bathroom and take a selfie, a bathroom selfie. Yeah. And so when we were deciding what we wanted for the cover, we did a photo shoot, and I was like, you know what would be more authentic than a selfie for a book that's titled "This Is Me: Loving Yourself for Who You Are Today," and not perfect. I have a tank top on. It's not completely glamazon and coiffed and all. And they were like, "That's a great idea." So I'm really glad that they went with it, and it's just
Wow.
Not what I expected,
my
but
selfies
very exciting.
I'm just stuck on that.
No,
I have never taken a selfie.
I doubt that.
This
Girl,
quality.
give me your phone. I don't believe
never
her.
looks like
I don't
this.
believe you. I don't believe you.
So we're gonna keep signing, and I'm gonna ask more questions.
Okay.
Is that cool? Okay, cool.
I don't know if I can do two things at once, but I'm
It's
gonna try.
So have you ever thought about doing your own clothing line? You always look so cute. That's what Jessica from Chillicothe, Ohio wants to know. I hope I pronounced your hometown right.
I was like, wow, that's impressive. I would have been like, I don't know where you're from, Ohio. Yes, I have. I would love to. I think that for me, I have a great stylist, and she helps me a lot. But there's also just not enough plus size clothing out there. And I feel like
the struggle is real.
The struggle is so real.
It's so real.
And it's like it might fit you in the tummy, but not in the arms. The
Yep.
arms are huge. I have to get them tailored.
Yep.
And then I spend more money on tailoring than I do on clothes. So yes, I'm thinking about it. I want to do it. Do you know anyone? Like, let me know. Give me a call.
Yes, please.
Yeah, it's definitely something I want to do.
We need
And
options.
like chic, cool, interesting options.
Yeah.
As opposed to like a tent.
Or a curtain.
Or a
which
curtain.
Is or a couch print.
Right. Or a couch print. I'm like, you know what? Gosh. Yeah.
So what made you audition for This Is Us? Maureen from Seymour, Connecticut wants to know.
Well, what made me audition was the script and the breakdown of the character, and I felt so close to what Kate has experienced, whether it was feeling like she was the second fiddle because I was a talent agent for so long, and I watched people go on auditions and dreamed about going on those auditions, and it was like watching your boyfriend take another woman out every day, and you're like, okay, great, have a great time, you know. So I was just happy to even get an audition, and then when I read something that was so profound, like these characters that are so real and vulnerable and flawed, and it was like, please, can I have an audition? I begged for it, and luckily got it. But you know, just because you want one doesn't mean you get an audition. So,
and I can't think of anyone else who would have been better to play the part. Honestly,
that's very kind.
Could you guys imagine someone else playing Kate?
That's only because now it's happened, but
right.
there's some great actors.
So that actually leads me to the next question. Sharita from Baltimore wants to know, how did you feel when you found out that This Is Us became a #1 show, and could you have ever imagined that the show would have this much of a reaction from fans?
No. I never thought it was. I just wanted a job. I just wanted to pay my bills.
Yeah.
I was like, please just let me stay in Los Angeles. So it wasn't until like the 4th or 5th episode where I was like, oh, people are trying to take pictures of me all slick like in the store. And I'm like, oh, right, I'm on a TV show. And then when we start having conversations about how the show's been impacting them and their families, and they can understand their kids with weight issues in a way that they never understood before, I was like, oh, this is so much more than just a TV show. This is changing people's hearts and their minds, and it's like bringing up conversation, and it's really educating people, because when you educate people, the fear goes away, whether it's about race or ageism or weight issues, paternity issues, any of that. It's like we all have these secrets that we're keeping inside, but we don't feel comfortable to talk about. Right. And I'm like, but we're all going through the same thing. Yeah. So that's why I think the show has been so popular, because we're all human, at least I think so.
And I actually have a question around that. So in the book, which I loved, you talk about obviously going through your life and having to do so much work to love yourself and have self-acceptance. Did you kind of have to like go through another reiteration of that process once you were a public figure? And like you said, people are like trying to sneak and take photos of you just in Target. Like, did you have to kind of resettle into your body again as this public figure?
Yeah, and I sometimes do it on a daily basis because sometimes I wake up feeling good as hell. Yeah. Right? You're like, yes, ready. And then sometimes you're like, okay, I'm not feeling good. And so it's always sort of coming back to like, I'm not my body. That's not all that I am. Yeah. It's about who I am, how I treat people, and my intention in the day and my thoughts and how I treat people. But it's different because people treat you differently. You're sort of like the girl behind the glass. And then some people just come up and run and kiss me. And I'm like, that's different. You know, like there's so many different adjustments that I make. But it's a daily process for me. And you know, our bodies change all the time, you know, depending on what we eat or how much we exercise or any of those things. So it's just like the constant evolution that I go through. Yeah.
So actually, Molly wants to know, she's from Boca Raton, Florida. Also,
Boca!
Florida is really repping for you today.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
So Molly wants to know, what is the key to self-acceptance? P.S. Love you. Oh, that's very important.
Love you. I think the key to self-acceptance is, this is sort of, you know, piggybacking on the title of the book, learning to love yourself for who you are today. Because if you don't love yourself for who you are today, you'll never get to the place you want to be. But everyone's like, but how do you get to love yourself? And I think that it starts with, I believe that confidence is trust in yourself. And so when you continue to do things that either make yourself feel good or you're of service, you're sort of putting like a deposit into like your confidence bank. And then it becomes about who you are and not indicative on how you look or how much you weigh or how tall you are, how much money, whatever, all of the external stuff that doesn't mean anything. So I think you have to start there and sort of just getting out of your own head. Because we want to like self-sabotage. Right. Because we're afraid of success or we feel like we don't deserve it. But like if you're here on this planet, and I always say like you're purposeful and you're worthy of all the things that you want. Right. You really, really are. So I think it just starts with doing esteemable acts create self-esteem. So doing those things, being of service and getting out of your own way and out of your own mind, it kind of just like springboards for that next step. Right. Yeah.
So Carrie from Mishawaka, Indiana, would like to know where, I'm sorry, actually I misspoke. This is Jada from Midland, Texas, who wants to know what it was like working with Mandy Moore.
It's horrible. She's the nicest human being in the whole, I mean, everybody is on the show. They're really, I call her the angel baby from the heavens. Like she is, I mean, kind and gracious and patient and she teaches me stuff all the time. I mean, she's been in this business for quite some time since she was very young.
Yeah, I remember Candy.
Yeah,
one of my favorite songs.
We often play
as a preteen.
Yes, we often play it on set, and she's like, "Please stop."
Is she like mortified by it now?
Yeah, she's like, "Stop." Listen, we found somebody who had a mosaic of her.
Shut up.
In his shower. Sorry, Mandy, or anybody that knows Mandy that might be watching. Although she's hiking Mount Kilimanjaro right now. What? I'm telling you, Mandy Moore, everybody. So yeah, I get it. Yeah. I get about the obsession of Mandy Moore. I don't have the mosaic tile in my bathroom, but I love her. She's the best.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. So Jane from Peoria, Illinois. I'm from Illinois, Chicago. Hey. Okay, that's pretty close. I was waiting to get some hometown love. Right. It's the closest I've gotten. Do you go through an audition process for The Impossible?
Actually, so let me just pick this up. Okay. Because guess what? Life happens. Yep. And it's
live,
fault.
y'all. Anything can happen.
Anything can happen. So everything's a song for me. It's kind of obnoxious. I met with the producers and the studio, and I was like, yeah, we're just like meeting. I didn't necessarily think it was going to be for the particular role. We were just having a general meeting, and Devon Franklin, who is a great, amazing producer, was
that Megan Good's husband?
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Yes. Yes, exactly.
That's so refreshing to say someone's husband instead of like so-and-so's wife all the time.
Bing. Yeah. So, yeah, they're lovely people.
Yeah.
And so Devon actually met Joy Smith, who was the lead of the movie, and of course, her son. Yes, live. We're live. Sorry, I couldn't even ignore it.
I know.
Not even that good,
I was like,
guys.
I think that's me.
Yeah, I was like, that is her. So Devon actually met this family a while ago, and he was like, you have to tell this story. This is incredible. And so I didn't necessarily go through an audition process, and luckily I think the body of work on This Is Us was enough for them to say, like, I think you can handle the material, but I didn't go through a traditional process.
Right.
Yeah.
So Alexandra from Griffith, Indiana also wants to know, what's the biggest challenge that you've had on This Is Us working on the show? I'm going to hand you some more books, by the way.
Oh, thanks. Thank you. Here, I'll take them from you. Thank you. I think the biggest challenge for me was I was sort of coming into a cast that had been working for so long, who have a litany of credits, who are super talented, and it was like my insecurities and sort of were plaguing me in my mind and thinking like, am I strong enough? Am I right? Is this like, this is one day the jig's going to be up and someone's going to be like, yeah, we're going to recast you. You know, like I was constantly like, am I good enough? And then I just was like, Chrissy, this is your job. So you have to show up, suit up and show up for yourself and figure it out. And everybody could not be more gracious and kind in the process. Like, I remember the second episode, I was like, Chris, I don't know my lines. And he's like, Chrissy, you know your lines. I'm like, no, I don't. I don't know what I'm doing. He's like, you know what you're doing. And thank God he knew, right? Because I did not know. And I was just it was all brand new for me. I'd never been a series regular on any show. It was my first test to be that. And so, to be a series regular. And so I felt really insecure. I think that was like the most challenging thing. And but the more you do, the better you get. And it's a process. And they started, I mean, listen, they're all pretty perfect, but they started out, their first series regular role, and maybe they were nervous as well. And I've had so many actors who were like, Chrissy, we felt the same way. I'm like, no, you didn't. Whatever. So, but that was difficult. Yeah. And it's still sometimes difficult. It's like the comparing and despairing. And so that's why I write about it and I talk about it, because it helps me to get through it, that we're all in different ages and stages of our lives. And I don't need to compare myself to somebody else. It's just a different journey. Yeah. So
speaking of, this is my favorite question, I think.
Uh-oh.
Jennifer from Amarillo, Texas wants to know, do you even realize how amazingly fabulous you are?
Oh.
That was the best question, Jennifer.
No. Jennifer, no. No, working on it, I guess. No.
And we have another Jennifer from Cartersville, Georgia, who wants to know if you have any daily affirmations that you use, and if so, what are they?
Yes, actually. I start with a gratitude list before I even jump out of bed. And so I start with a gratitude, and then affirmations, they change from day to day. But I always say I'm healthy, happy, whole, and complete. That's sort of like a mantra affirmation that I say. And sometimes I say it throughout the day if I'm feeling anxious or if I'm worried. I just sort of get back to that still place. But I could have a new one tomorrow.
Yeah.
They change all the time.
So I have a question, as one of my favorite moments in the book is in the beginning when you talk about meeting Oprah. Tell me, how did you not freak out? Like, what was that like?
I was like, she's a human being. She's a human being. She's a human being. Chrissy, she's just a human being. I'm like, well, she's Oprah. She's kind of magical. So it was, even getting the phone call, I thought they were kidding. I thought it was a joke. And so then when I actually arrived at the house, I was like, what am I going to do? Like, what do I say? And I was like, just calm down. She asked you here for a reason. It's okay. Yeah. Like, she's just a human being that happens to be very magical. And so it was magical. And I walked in and they were like, oh, Miss Winfrey will be right down. I'm like,
words everyone literally wants to hear.
I was like, right down to see me? Okay, right. And I was like, okay. And I'm just like looking around, you know, trying not to be like obnoxious, but like it's fascinating.
Yeah.
And she was like, Chrissy, and it was the moment. It was the moment. It was the moment.
In Oprah's voice.
Yes,
like that sing-songy that everyone knows. Everyone knows exactly what that sound is. And just to hear it like saying your name.
Yes.
I would have passed out, to be honest.
I was like, Oprah knows my name, y'all.
Yeah.
And then she said something really, I said, oh my gosh, your house is just stunning. It's beautiful. And she said, it is. Thank you. It is, isn't it? And I was like,
I can't.
And I learned that, like, I wasn't even in her house 3 seconds, and I learned this life lesson that, like, it's okay to sit in your seat of power and know that, like, you did work really hard for this beautiful home that you have, and she's been working hard all of her life.
She did. And
it's okay to receive that and accept it and say, yeah, thank you so much. And we don't do that because we're not taught. You know, it's like, so many times people will give me a compliment and I'm like, oh, and not receive it. And then a producer that we work with said to me, Chrissy, you know, I tell this story all the time. He's like, you know, the more that you deflect and the more that you don't receive the compliment, it becomes more about you.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
And I'm like, yeah, you're absolutely right. So now I'm like, just say thank you.
Yeah.
Just say thank you.
Right.
Or just acknowledge it and say thank you so much. That was really kind. Or
because some people might confuse deflecting with being humble.
Right.
When it's actually like the most humble thing is to just graciously take it in. Thank you.
Yeah. So I'm learning that as well.
Life jewels.
Yes.
Here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oprah Winfrey, guys.
So Stacy from Farmingham, Massachusetts wants to know, is it hard not to laugh when doing scenes with Chris Sullivan?
Are you kidding?
Work so well together. And he says the funniest things. I love watching you together.
First of all, yes, thank you. Chris Sullivan is one of the funniest people I know and one of the most talented people I know. And he makes it look so effortless that you're like, oh, he is Toby. Like, what? And he has he improvises all the time, throws me for a loop. All the time, I'm like, it's so hard to play the straight man to this really, really hilarious person. You know, like, he's so dang on funny and I love comedy. And so it's so hard. I'm like, okay. Right, you're upset, you're angry. Like, you can't laugh at him. I mean, there are things that he does. There was one, he took a coffee stir and he was biting and he flicked it. Like, he just really funny, kooky choices that are so Toby. Right, you know? Right. And I'm like, oh, he's so tapped into that character, but it like flung. And then the other, oh my gosh, it was funny. He like was pretending to have a heart attack. And I remember the producer was like, yeah, you're not going to want to do that because that's foreshadowing. And we're like, what does it mean? We didn't even know it was written yet that he was going to fall through the table at Christmas. So he was like, what does it mean? I'm like, Chris, you have a job. We have a job. Don't worry, you have a job. But he's, oh my gosh, all the time. So constantly.
What moment when you read it in the script actually shocked you the most so far?
You know, I didn't expect a miscarriage. That for me was tough. Like, wow. But I thought, how brilliant of the writers and of Dan to talk about something nobody knows how to talk about. They have so much shame around it. You don't. How do you bring it up? But you know, I think the statistics are like, literally like 8 out of 10 women might have one, and sometimes they have multiple miscarriages, and so that was shocking because I was like, wow, I wasn't prepared for this, you know, but it's such a challenge, I think, for an actor, and then to have people relate to this story and talk about something they've experienced, and that the show has gotten them through a really difficult life event is like, oh my goodness. But it was, you know, but they're always surprising us. Yeah. I mean, there's some stuff about next season and I'm like, what? I'm not going to tell you guys because I want to keep my job. But
and I also don't want to know.
Yeah, no, you don't.
I do not play about spoilers for This Is Us, and you are not an exception. Okay, I don't want to know anything.
I won't say anything.
No one tell me anything.
I couldn't anyway. But I'm constantly being surprised.
So Amy from Braceville, Illinois, once says that I too grew up with a single mother, and I was wondering how you've dealt with trust issues. Looking forward to reading your story.
Oh, thank you. Trust issues. That is so hard. I think it comes back to trusting myself. And that is really derived from, if I say I'm going to do something, I do it.
Right.
To the best of my ability. And so I have a hard time saying no because I want to please everybody and I want everybody to be happy. But I want to be a person of my word.
Right.
Because when I trust myself, I can trust others. And so it's a challenge, you know, to just set your boundaries. No is a complete sentence. You don't have to give an explanation. And then that helps with other people when, if they make a decision or they lie to you or whatever it is that you distrust about what they've said or done, I know that it's not personal. It has nothing to do with me. Because if I am confident in the trust in myself, then I don't have to worry about that other side of the coin.
So Jen from Bayshore wants to know, was singing a part of Kate's character before you were cast?
No, actually.
Fascinating.
No, not at all. We never auditioned. I don't think it was ever going to be a storyline. And then, of course, because Mandy sings, and they made it a character choice for Rebecca, it was, I think, not until the second episode when we finished the second episode and I got the script for the third that I was like, what? She's gonna, huh? And I remember like going to Dan and I'm like, Dan, and he's like, if you can't sing, it's fine. It's totally fine. We can have somebody dub your voice. I'm like, no, I want to do it.
I can sing.
And he's
thank
like,
you.
And he's like, you can. Oh, I didn't know you sang. And I'm like, well, I want to. If you want to, like, let me. And he was like, yes, of course, go for it. And so it's just sort of been this kind of unfolding through line between, of course, Rebecca and Kate's relationship and aspiring to be like her mom. So no, I had no idea it was going to happen. And thank you, universe.
So will there be a musical project from Chrissy?
I hope so. I would love that. Time is sort of a thing right now. And also, I love music. Oh, thank you. I love music so much. It's hard to pick like a genre. I'm like, how do I choose a sound?
Yeah.
But whether it's a musical or whether it's a musical or like an EP or I've written music before and I would love to do it, but we'll see. Yeah.
The music industry is a whole separate beast too.
It
so
is.
it's like
and that I don't really understand and probably could not navigate. So we'll see. I hope
so. Kelly from Cottage Grove, Minnesota, actually wants some advice.
Okay.
My daddy died 2 weeks ago. He was my hero. Any advice you can give me on how to get through this? I'm 41 and I haven't left my bed. I have major depression from my weight and my daughter's getting married in September. I don't even want to be there unless I lose 60 pounds and I'm a stressed and depressed eater. I need help. I'm a mess. You're amazing and inspire me. But how do I begin to move on in a world without my dad in it?
I'm so sorry. I think losing a loved one is one of the most difficult things to go
Sending
through.
you love, Kelly.
Yes. And you have questions and you don't know how to grieve and we're not taught how to do that. I think talking about, like, this is so important. Even to have the courage to ask the question is an incredible step forward. But the more you talk about it, the more you can write about it and get through it, to process your feelings and to feel the feelings. For so long, I repressed the feelings and I ate over them. And when you start to eat differently and treat your body differently, things come up. And so you have to think about, what would your father want for you and want for your children and for your life, and know that everything is energy, and like whether the person is here or not, they're still with you, and as cliche as it sounds, they are. And I can't imagine how difficult it must be, especially at this really exciting time for your daughter. And I say be gentle, be kind to yourself, but also know that you're important and you're valuable and you're worth spending the time and the energy and the effort to like come through the other side of something really difficult. And if you want to reach out, text, Facebook message me or whatever, I'm happy to chat with you, because I know it's really, really, really hard. So, but be kind, be gentle to yourself, process the feelings. And for me, I think like with food, I'm like, is this going to help me or is this going to hurt me? You know, just like we put premium gas in our cars, but we're like, oh, I'll just eat that. And I'm like, oh, you know, and just think of your body as something that you value, and you got to change your mind to change your life. And so I think it's like a whole shift. And that's a lot. I know you're like, there's so much of an undertaking, but just one little step at a time. And I think it'll make a difference. So
sending you so much love. I also want to take this time to remind folks who are just tuning in that we are doing a live book signing right now for Chrissy Metz's new book. This Is Me, Loving the Person You Are Today. And you can buy the book at ChrissyMetzBook.com. And some people are getting signed copies. So this is a really exciting time. Like
signing them right now.
Yeah.
Right here.
So Jackie from Paris, Illinois wants to know something that I actually had also been wondering. How do people in the entertainment industry treat you differently because of your weight, if there's any difference? Do you feel like you've experienced that?
I think that people in general have this idea that people who are overweight are lazy, don't follow through on things, or, you know, and again, I have to just go back to, like, it's not personal. You know, if I'm at a award show and somebody cuts in line to go to the red carpet to do the photo ops, I'm like, they got somewhere to be.
Yeah.
They're doing something. They're on their track. They've got to figure it out. They got to put the oxygen mask on themselves first, whatever. I just don't take anything personally because their perception is their reality. It has nothing to do with me. And although sometimes it stings, or like, you know, I've been told like, oh, you're too pretty to play the big girl. I mean, you're like when they say, like if I'm too attractive to be a big girl. I'm like, I don't understand what that means. Like, and I'm like, wait, so like plus size women can't be attractive? Yeah, like I've heard the craziest, kookiest things. And, or we got to change your hair color, or we got to like make you less attractive because I'm like, what? I don't even know what that means. Just like in the audition process, let's dull your hair down. Let's make you not as interesting looking. And I'm like, oh, okay. I know that art imitates life, and eventually it'll catch up. And I think that everybody's story needs to be told in some capacity. And so, you know, it's one of those things that when people are ready, and I think people are ready, and the shift is happening, people's minds are expanding and changing and being inclusive, it's going to happen. But I just don't take anything personally. It's hard not to. It's not perfect all the time. I do catch some feelings because I'm a human. But I just try to process it and work through it and just say, it's not about me. It's just not about me. If you want to cast me in your project or not, that it's your project. It has nothing to do with me. So,
Rosemary from Staten Island, New York wants to know, what's a day in the life of Chrissy Metz like?
That is a good question because every day is different. Today I woke up and had oatmeal. Which I don't even even like oatmeal, but today I liked it and I wanted it.
I put bananas in mine.
Mine too.
Yeah.
Twinsies. Which I don't ever do. And then I started, of course, the day for the press for the book. But some days I'm going to work. Some days I'm going to costume fittings. Sometimes I'm just going to the grocery store. So it's very normal, but very...
Can you just go to a grocery store and get groceries?
I can, but I typically end up... I have to equate time into the schedule. Because
to talk to people?
To talk to people. Because I can't just be like, oh, bye. You know? Because somebody, you know, has been dealing with a loss in their family, or, you know, a relationship with their brother, or something that the show is relating to them. Or, oh my God, I saw you wear this, and how do you have the confidence? And whatever it is. So yes, I can go to the grocery store. But, and then I sort of feel obligated, like, oh, I better not look a mess. And then I'm like, you know what, Chrissy? You're the people's people. You're the real girl. You don't have to always have makeup on. Always forget it. And so I've just gotten to the point where I just like accept it, and I'm like, this is me. This is what you get. So, and I also want to have that independence. I don't want to feel like a recluse in my house all the time. Listen. I don't mess around. Like Amazon Prime is the jam.
Right.
Yeah, it's very convenient. But I do like to be out in the public. So every day is different.
Right.
Every day.
What was your writing process like? Like, did you because I imagine you're a very busy woman.
Yes.
So when did you like find time to write? Did you have like a writing practice that you did every day to like get the book done?
Yeah, you know, Kevin O'Leary, who is my ghostwriter and friend, and just an amazing human being, we would talk. It was during second season, we're shooting. It's also award season, so it's crazy busy. I'm in between, you know, dress fittings and, you know, shooting the show. And he's like, oh, can you talk today for like an hour? I'm like, I can talk for 45 minutes. You know, so like every day I'm like, I can talk for an hour and a half today. And so everybody worked around my schedule, which was so helpful because if it was up to me, I don't think I would have gotten it done. I'd be like, I'm overwhelmed. I can't. It's insurmountable.
Yeah.
So every day was different, and every time that I could talk, we did. And then he would sort of, you know, just make sure that the stories were going appropriately in order and, you know, in the way that we wanted. And then I would get the edits back. And then I'm like, oh, can we change this? Actually, this actually happened. And I wanted to make sure it was so true to my voice that I would read it out loud.
Right.
And make sure that if I should ever read out loud, or when I did the audiobook, that it would be authentic to my voice. And so it was just that for, you know, I think we did it in like 8 months, maybe less than 8 months, which was a challenge. And yeah, really, I mean, it was super fun, but also like, I don't want to just put anything out there. I want it to be good. I want it to be inspiring and, you know, paying it forward. Right. So.
And Sonia from Springfield, Ohio actually wants to know, how did you feel writing the book? And I would also add to that, is there, obviously in the book, you go through all of these life lessons that you've learned, but is there something that you feel like you learned about yourself having come to the end of this process of writing the book? Like, like, wow.
Yeah, that's a really good question because as I'm doing it, of course, realizing that there are things that I've come on the other side of and thought, oh, yeah, I've processed that. I'm good. And then there are things that I didn't realize that once I started peeling away the layers, I really hadn't gotten to the bottom of it. And I was like, oh, shoot. And then it was also like, even this is a process because I have to trust that what I put out there, if I'm authentic and if my intentions are good and I come from love, that what I put out there will be received in the way it's intended to. But I also know that the way people receive it is their perception. So I can't hold on to, I was so afraid. I'm like, oh, what if the reader thinks this? And what if they think that? And everyone's like, every reader's going to be different. And I'm like, oh, right. Duh, that's what I write about. Like everybody's perception is different. It's not different just because they're reading a book. But because I felt so exposed and vulnerable, I was like, oh shoot, like, should I even talk about this? And I thought, Chrissy, if you are afraid to talk about it, that's what you have to talk about. So it was interesting that I was going through that. What I was writing about, I was going through at the same time about writing the book. Right. So weird.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's do something fun. We're going to play.
Oh, no.
22 questions in 2 minutes with Chrissy Metz. So for those of you just tuning in, I'm Cecily Bowen, senior entertainment writer at Refinery 29. I'm here with the amazing Chrissy Metz. She just wrote a whole book. We are very excited about it.
A whole book?
A whole book. Not
I can't believe it myself.
This is me. And we are so excited about it. So we're going to play this really fun game, and we're going to try to get these questions done in 2 minutes. And you can also get the book at ChrissyMetzBook.com. All right, you ready?
I think so.
Number 1, where were you born?
Homestead, Florida.
Number 2, who would you want to play you in a movie?
Oh, gosh. Kathy Bates.
Ooh, good one. Number 3, what was your first job?
Well, I babysat, but McDonald's.
Okay. 4, what is your greatest accomplishment?
Oh, goodness. I would like to say, I'm not going to make the 2-minute mark with this one. I think just showing up for myself every day.
Okay.
Yeah.
5, what is your biggest pet peeve?
I don't like when people don't put their blinkers on when they're driving, or directionals. Like, you need to communicate. Where are you going? I want you to tell me. Help me help you.
That's such an LA answer.
Oh, is it? Yeah. Well, it's because we drive everywhere.
Number 6, what color is your toothbrush?
Purple.
7, what's your favorite food?
Cheese.
Number 8, who is the most interesting person you've met recently?
Oh, my goodness. Lena Waithe.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Jealous.
She was on our show.
Number 9. If you weren't acting, what would you be doing?
I'd probably be a therapist.
10. How do you take your coffee?
Stevia, coconut milk, iced.
Ooh. 11. What is your middle name?
Michelle with 1 L.
That's my aunt's name. Okay. Number 12. What's your favorite hobby?
Oh gosh. I love to like draw on cards and like write and like script and stuff, when people do like calligraphy, but like with
doodles?
markers. Yeah, doodles and stuff. Yeah.
13. What's your guilty pleasure?
Oh my goodness gracious. Cheese.
14. What is your greatest fear?
I really don't like insects.
Ooh, okay.
And so, like something crawling on me is like pretty scary. Although I don't think I want to be in a helicopter either.
Okay, good to know.
Yeah.
Number 15. Are you a morning person or a night owl?
Morning.
Okay. Number 16. What is your worst habit?
My worst habit. Oh dear. I leave my shoes everywhere. I mean, that's not the worst. That's just the one I can think of. Let's be honest.
17. What was the last gift you gave?
The last gift that I gave. Oh my gosh, I don't know. Probably jewelry or clothes. I don't know.
18. What is the last album that you bought or streamed?
The last one that I bought. I couldn't find my Otis Redding greatest hits, so I had to rebuy it.
You have really good taste in music. Okay. Thanks. 19. What's your favorite book?
Oh gosh, The Alchemist.
Okay. Not This Is Me.
Well, it could be.
Number 20.
Too much.
What cause is very dear to your heart?
Oh, what cause? I love St. Jude's. I love, gosh, for me, it's like about equality in every shape and form, fashion. It's hard to just pinpoint one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
21. Name 2 items on your bucket list. Obviously, helicopters.
Yeah.
Is not one of them.
I would like to backpack through Europe.
Amazing.
Yeah. And sing the national anthem at, like a big sporting event.
Nice.
Yeah.
And 22. Where do you want to go that you've never been?
Oh, everywhere. I haven't been hardly anywhere. I was a broke actor. I've been to Berlin. That's about only place in Europe. I lived in Japan, but like Australia, New Zealand, Spain, everywhere. Everywhere. I haven't even gone to Hawaii.
Amazing.
I haven't even gone anywhere. So everywhere.
Did we do this in 2 minutes?
I don't know.
I have no clue. I don't think we made 2 minutes, but it's okay.
That's okay.
We gave the people what they wanted to know.
We did the best
what
we
matters.
could.
Yes, no one is perfect.
That's right. I was like, it's hard with these things.
But we actually have some good follow-up questions too if we want to extend this. So Michelle from Las Vegas wants to know, who is your dream co-star?
I mean, in what sense? Romantical? I know. Kate's married to Toby now. I mean, I keep saying this, but I would love Allison Janney. I mean, I just love her. Just love her. I don't know if he would do television, but Oscar Isaac. I love him. I love Sam Rockwell, Efren Molina. I like, there's so many. How can I choose?
Yeah. There's a lot of good talent out there.
I can't. Sorry. Everybody.
So I want to go back to Lena Waithe because I'm obsessed with her.
She's amazing.
Yeah, like just obsessed. What was it like doing that scene with her for the show?
I was like intimidated, right? Because she is this strong, like fierce presence with like, she just knows exactly what she wants. Yeah. And I'm so indecisive about everything. I have to weigh all the options, and she just knows what she wants. I mean, she was not only present in the scene, but like, she's producing so many things at the same time and writing, and I'm like, how is she doing this in between takes? And I'm like a one-trick pony if I'm at work. And she just can do it all, and she does it with like grace, and I've never seen her like stressed out. I was like, what? I'm like, tell me everything, teach me everything, and funny, and she loves Whitney Houston, and so do I. So we were doing a little singing backstage, in between the scenes, and she's just great. Wow. Did you see her Vanity Fair cover?
Yes, I did. And no one asked me, but she would be my preferred co-star in anything should the opportunity come up. So tell her that.
Okay,
Talk to her again.
I will.
Okay.
I will. Yeah, she's wonderful.
Mary Pat from Palmdale, California wants to know, who is your inspiration as an actress and as a person?
My inspiration as an actress and a person.
So, like, I guess an actress that you look up to, and then just someone in general.
Oh, okay. Well, I dedicated the book to my mom and my grandmother and my sisters because they are literally the strongest women that I've ever met. And I really look up to them because they just keep it. Oh, thank you. They just keep it moving, you know? And they're kind and loving and so supportive in so many ways. And who do I look up to as an actress? Wow. Yeah, that's hard to say. In what way? Like, you know, like if it's womp womp womp. I couldn't. I don't know. That's a good question and one for me to ponder. Sorry, I don't have the answer.
Well, I'm curious. You said that Kathy Bates. You want Kathy Bates to play you in a movie.
I do love me some Kathy Bates.
Yeah.
We got to, of course, work on Horror Story together. And we actually did a duet that never made it to air. And that was such an amazing moment in my life. Being in the studio with Kathy Bates, who, I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Come on. And I don't know. She's pretty incredible. And she's so versatile and but she's also really gracious and like hugs the crew and talks to everybody, and I mean she's a good one. She's a good one now that I'm thinking about it. Yeah.
One of the things that I noticed reading the book is how it, like, the way it's so adjacent to This Is Us. Obviously, it's titled This Is Me, but also when I was reading it, like, you really flow back and forth between past and present in a way that This Is Us does. You also wrote this very, like, short but so sweet letter to Kate at the end of the book.
Yeah.
Was a lot of that intentional? Like, was it really kind of like this converging of worlds in terms of like what This Is Us has done for your life and your career and wanting to share these parts of yourself with the world?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's sort of, we both inform each other, which is so cool about acting. And you take what you know and you bring it to the character and to the scene. And then as I'm, of course, going through the process, like, this is all that I wanted. I wanted to not only have a job, but like I started to be interested in acting and telling stories and jokes because I wanted the attention or the love, and I wanted to relate to somebody. I wanted to have somebody understand me and where I was coming from. So I'm like, oh, if I can understand where that character is coming from, maybe people will understand me. And so it all just sort of came together, and as I'm telling these stories and going through everything I went through, that it happened not just to me but for me, to lead me to that moment of being a character that literally has changed my life.
Yeah.
I mean, it's unreal, and sometimes I don't even think it's sunk in yet. It's been 2 years. So it all just, it's hard to have one without the other. Yeah.
Jonah from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Pittsburgh!
Hey,
go Steelers! Yes!
What tips do you have for someone trying to work up the courage to venture across the country to LA on their own to pursue their dreams? Not trying to give away spoilers from the book, but Chrissy did that in a car from Florida to LA, so she's a good person to ask.
Yeah, we caravanned. There was 3 cars. We had walkie-talkies because Texas is a big old state and cell phones don't always work.
It's a country in itself.
Yes, I was like halfway through. I'm like, turn around. We're never gonna get there. I think that you really want to prepare. Whether you're, if I think driving out could be really fun by yourself, but you're not just gonna. Yes, it's great to live on a whim, but you want to make sure that you're prepared for the journey and that you know that it's going to take work, just as anything that means anything. It will always take work, but have sort of a plan for yourself in that, whether you've saved money or you plan on getting a job or transferring a job to, you have to have a job. Unless you're fortunate enough to have people who can help you, you have to have a job. And also know that, you don't just arrive and Hollywood's ready for you. There's so many steps that have to go into it, and for me it was 12 years in the making. So but just like with anything, you have a plan. You don't apply to a college without making really great grades and making sure that you have all your ducks in a row. And it's the same thing. It's just going to a different type of university. Yeah. University of Hard Knocks is what I call it. And listen, be careful of the parking. I spent so much money on parking tickets. Not kidding. In the first year, probably $3,000 in parking tickets. So watch the signs. Read the signs. Ask for help for deciphering the signs. It's absurd.
LA, you can count me out. I can't take that. I can't take that stress in my life. I can't do it.
So many tickets. So many tickets.
Neva from Williston, North Dakota wants to know: are children in your future on the show or in real life?
My gosh, in the show we have talked about that coming up again. I don't know what that exactly is going to look like, but I think that they definitely want to have a family, and who knows, it could be from, conception or adoption. I mean, there's so many ways that children can come into our lives. And it's interesting because I was previously married, which I talk about in the book.
Oh, Marty.
Yes. Oh my gosh. To an incredible man who I'm still friends with and is just wonderful, but just not my forever person, as I say. And we never thought about having children. It like neither one of us wanted to have children, and I couldn't even keep a plant alive. I'm like, I'm gonna have a okay, and I was too busy and I'm trying to like get my life together, and so it wasn't ever anything to think about. But like, I have a huge family. I taught preschool. Kids are always around, but I don't know. I have no idea. I mean, to ask me tomorrow, I might say yes. Who knows? I also think that the child chooses the parent. So should it be, then it will be. So. And
you had siblings and you grew up with a single mom, so you know the good and the bad. Of the weight of having a child and what that means. So I knew that I was gonna like Marty though when I read that he was gonna smoke weed and then go on a hike. I'm not gonna say any more than that, but I was like, I like this guy.
Oh, that's so funny. I can't do that stuff because I need no encouragement when it comes to food. Yeah, and I'm like, I can't do it. I can't do it. But I'm like, how does he? How good? Okay, everybody's different. Yes, it's really funny.
So I'm glad you talked about like all the different ways that This Is Us might explore parenthood, because I think that is what so many people obviously love about This Is Us, is that they take these very human experiences and bring them front in a way that I had never seen before on a show, especially as a plus size woman. So at Refinery 29, we have the 67% project, which is based around the idea that like 67% of women in the United States are above like a size 14. And one of the things that I kind of wrote about was like, I remember the scene where Kate flies to New Jersey to like see her family, and the way they really stuck with how uncomfortable flying can be as a person of size and as a plus size person, that was just like so real and like so touching. And it was in a way where I was like, wow, I'm really happy that someone is talking about this, but I also felt like very vulnerable and exposed, because I think that in a lot of ways, like, we are taught to like not really acknowledge the ways that it can be difficult to like navigate the world. So it just seems like there's always such a delicate balance. And I'm wondering if for you've ever like read the script and just felt exposed as opposed to like, not just like, wow, I empathize but really like, oh, I have to really get ready to do this.
Definitely. I mean, I've had experiences on flights where, people look at you, and especially if I wasn't before I was on the show. Yeah. Because now they want to, there's the vapors, and now it's like very different. But they walk through and they're looking at their number and they're like, oh God, I don't want to sit by her. Yeah. And of course it made me self-conscious because I don't want to make anybody uncomfortable. Right. Of course not. And so I have experienced that. And it's what was so beautiful about that scene was that that woman was going through something and was projecting it onto Kate, which we all do. And that was a moment for these two women to come together and that woman to be vulnerable when there was crazy turbulence and she was uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Because it's always, well, not only because altitude makes us more emotional, that being that high, because I always cry on the plane. Yeah, I always cry on the plane. I'm listening to a song, I'm like, I heard this 1,000 times. I'm like, whoo, feeling something. But also because you're in a metal tube in the air.
Yeah, literally.
Your mortality is sort of in question in a way. And then you realize, like, what? How could I judge somebody? And we don't know we never know what people are going through. And so, I definitely have experienced that. And, you know, in the Hollywood party scene, the second episode, when Kate was so out of place.
Yes.
You know, like half of me is like, I'm good. I'm good. I'm fine. I'm good.
Yeah.
And then the other half of me is like, oh, but people are still going to judge me. It's still going to be a thing. So I totally related to that, especially at a Hollywood party.
Yeah, that was another experience I really related to. I have to go to screenings. I go to, you know, release parties and things like that. And I'm just like, all right, here goes nothing. Yeah. You know, you just never know. The experience can be really good or it can go really bad. You just never know.
Well, what's really amazing is that women will come up to me and they're like, oh, I wish I didn't wear these heels. I wish I didn't wear this dress. I feel uncomfortable, this and that. And I'm like, oh, we feel uncomfortable maybe, but in different ways.
Right.
And we're all feeling something, but we don't talk about it. We're like, let's just put the face on.
Right.
And that's why I just keep it real. I'm like, oh, I don't wear heels. I'm like... I spoke to an actor right before the Globes, and she was like, I'm nervous. What do I have to go on stage? I'm like, girl, you're fine.
Yeah.
And I'm like, who am I telling this? What the?
The voice of reason.
Yeah, the voice. I'm the voice of reason. But it's kind of amazing in that way. But yeah, the Hollywood party, especially when they were having their little chat, Toby and Kate, and she's like, I don't know if I should ever get pregnant. Are people going to realize that I'm pregnant? Yeah. You know? And there have been people, random strangers, who's like, oh, are you having a baby? And I'm like, did you?
Never ask someone that.
Yeah, I'm like,
no, just don't do it. It's not a good idea.
Hold on. And get whatever. Maybe she's never been able to have a child and she's jealous and who knows?
Right.
I don't take it personally, but you know, or maybe she wanted to connect, or maybe she lost a child. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I'm like, no, but it's uncomfortable. Those things, or, you know, feeling like, oh, can I fit in this chair? Can I fit in this booth? You know, like that's something I think about because it's not all that I am, but is a part of who I am. So I totally, totally can relate.
Wow.
Yeah.
Jennifer from Murfreesboro, Tennessee wants to know, what is the most valuable life lesson that you have learned on your journey of getting to where you are today?
Oh, well, of course, the theme of this whole event is like, and the reason why I wrote the book and try to pay it forward in that way, that nothing is personal. And that hurt people do hurt people. And so we got to break that cycle of, you know, retaliating when someone hurts us, because they're coming from a place of pain, and it's really funneled down into fear. So they're afraid of something, but that's, of course, layered with all these other things. And if you can kind of meet them halfway or meet them in the middle, and, you know, whether you want to be gracious or kind or loving back, and sometimes you don't want to be. Yeah. Ooh, sometimes you do not want to be. It's so important because you have to take the high road sometimes. Right. Whether you're teaching this person that, or giving them a perspective that they've never seen before, but also just to understand instead of being understood. You know, the St. Francis prayer, which is one of my favorite prayers of life. So I think if we can, you got to be kind to yourself to be kind to others, and then that just ends up sort of evolving into, if everybody was kind to everybody else, everybody would be taken care of. Right. You know, but we're not taught that. Yeah. We're taught to compare and despair and, oh, I don't look like that. Yeah. I'm not this, I'm not that. And it's like, what? Who? Good. Thank God we all don't look alike.
Yeah. Seriously.
All the things that we get to learn from different faces of people's shapes or their bodies or their cultural backgrounds. Like, why do we don't want to be alike? So it's a very broad sort of question, answer for that question, but I think you guys get it. Yeah. Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah. Thank you. So we are here with Chrissy Metz, who is obviously our favorite actress on This Is Us. It's Kate, but also an author now of This Is Me, Loving the Person You Are Today. You can get it at ChrissyMetzBook.com. Thank you so much for being here with me today. This was absolutely amazing.
Yeah, it was really
Thanks everyone for tuning in, and I'm so jealous of all the people who got a signed copy of this. Although I'm going to ask her for an autograph too.
Of course. Of course.
Thanks, guys, for tuning in.
Thank you so much. I hope you enjoy. Thank you.